this is Becky from What Becky Did Last Night, and I'm going to be trying to revive my Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers. These I have not used in about 18 months. They were working beautifully back in England, and then I moved to America. And they've, since unpacking, when I landed, they've been kept in their trays, completely horizontal, nice and safe. So they've remained flat the entire time. The only time they would have got thrown around is I actually dedicated an entire suitcase to bringing these over. So out of my baggage allowance, these guys came along. And I have two types. They're pretty much all illustrators. The only ones that aren't are the extra pale colors that they bought out. So the 05s. These are not even on their color chart. I don't know what's going on with Spectrum Noir and keeping up to date and, being consistent. Obviously, there's been a lot of drama in the community, I guess, because they've decided to stop producing the refills. And their reasoning being that you can still buy the individual pens, you can still buy the pens open stock, but they will no longer be supplying the refills, I guess, due to supply and demand, cost, all of that stuff. So where does that leave us? I'm about to swatch out these pens, which I've had faith in for many, many years. I've always been a big fan. I did a lot of work for Spectrum Noir and Crafter's Companion when I was on their design team, and the Illustrator pens were my favorite. I love the brush nib. I couldn't say anything wrong about them. So now I'm going to be really mean. I'm going to take these pens, which are a few years old, and see if they have dried out and see if any of them need replacing. And then based on what happens after that is whether or not these pens are any use to me anymore, or whether I just need to start over, keep the trays, and, salvage what I can, but move on. So should we get started? Okay. I am going to start with the dark reds. So again, this is the only color chart I can find for these at the moment. If I end up keeping these, I might knock out a new color chart with the 05s in. But for now, where I don't have a box for these, I am going to color in the header. So where is the DRs? Over here. Okay, happy with this pen. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, we have our first dry marker. I would not be able to get a blend from that. Let me just check the bullet. No, this was not an empty marker. This has been complete, as you can see. I mean, I think I pulled one or two of these out for my white and black pens comparison, and I needed a color underneath, and I pulled one out. And this is why I'm doing this test, because I think this might have been one that I pulled out and was like, wow, that should not be dry. These have not been stored in excessively hot conditions. These have not been left with caps off. So this is going to be a shame. And I'm curious to know, is this an ink marker problem? Or is this a Spectrum Noir problem? So please join in on the comments and let me know. So let's go up to DR2. And you can even see that nib. I've just taken all the ink out of it and it's not flowing. So my next question will be, what can I do about this? This is not good. It's not like the pigment has disappeared. What's happened is the alcohol has evaporated. Oh my God. The brush nib doesn't even want to bend. DR5. I think you can see what's happening here, can't you? DR6. DR7. Wow. Okay. So the Classique marker, let me just double check with the chisel tip. Well, that's strange. That's supposed to be the same color as that. That is dry. And that, you know, I just wonder if those caps should not be coming off so easily. Okay, going on to the coral reds. And what do I do? Do I just take some... Wow. Do I just take some colorless blender and try and put some in? Because I know all the pigments in there. Well, I'm not holding much hope for this. It's not the worst one, but that's not going to blend with anything. So there you have it, folks. Use your materials, use your art supplies, because the shelf life is pretty poopy. Invest all this money and then, for me now, knowing that there are no refills, I'm not looking at replacing, you know, a few markers here and there. Every single one of these. I'm going to keep going. So what even, I don't even know what the purpose of swatching the rest of these out is going to be for you, but you know, we've started. Where am I now? Oh, R's. There you are. This is the 05. Well, the trays hold up really well. One. Two. Oh, Spectrum Noir. We had a good run. Let me just show you something. Here is one of the last things that I colored with my pens. There might be a little bit of pencil in here. There's a little bit of their glitter pens in here. And they were juicy and great to use, and this literally was one of the last things I did with them. And now look. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the video here, and you're going to see me in a minute with this all completed. Because I don't think you want me to narrate my disappointment for the entire process. I will store it all up and come back to you in a moment. Okay, so I'm just jumping back in because whilst I'm doing this, I've had some thoughts. And I just wanted to confirm the paper that I'm using. Just so that you can rule this out as a problem with what I'm doing. I'm using the Spectrum Noir Premium Marker Pad. And for comparison, this is what the back of a colored pen picture should look like. It should have bled through. Okay? So when you have all of that alcohol seeping through the paper, it's meant to do that. This is how we're looking. There's probably 2 or 3 that are trying. The others, there's nothing here to report back to, but there's a few that are trying, but I would have to really, really work it. So I think what's happening here is that these pens have dried out. They've been completely capped. I don't know how using them would have made a difference, because then I would have been using them, but at least I would have used them. So it seems to me that they just have a shelf life, and they just reach a point where at some point all of that alcohol is going to evaporate. So I really want to hear from the Copic users and the Ohuhu users and find out how you found your pens. Now, a few observations from my memory. These pens are several generations down the line. They have redesigned these pens several times. These are not the original barrels, which did have a problem with drying out. They did have a problem. So this cap, for example, felt a little bit more secure. Okay, so this is one of the better ones, but still I'm not getting any bleed through. It's a very vibrant pigment, this one, so you know it's coming across like it's okay, but it's really not. Even these illustrators, these are not the original illustrators. So that when they did the new launch and they changed all the colors and they changed manufacturers, and so they had to go to a different color system, and everybody got upset, and then everybody settled down, and we all liked the new pens. I then had to replace all of those with the brand new, so then they replaced the illustrators again. So they've gone through several iterations of these. So these ones are supposedly the latest model that they had, because they haven't had any, that I'm aware of, big changes. I mean, look at this, is garbage. They haven't had any big changes in pens since the ones I got. What they did revamp afterwards were the Classiques, which was the original black barrel redesigned, turned into, you know, with their new manufacturer. This is what came out. And even these ones, I mean,
I don't think they should be so easy to come apart, but I don't know if this is, again, like I say, is this something more internal that needs to be a better design? Because what is the point in buying refillable markers if you're going to A, take away the refills, and B, you know, force us to have to replace them because, you know, they just evaporate. So what is going on with Crafter's Companion and Spectrum Noir? And this is a very difficult conversation for me because obviously I've been a big supporter of their products. I gave them many years on the design team, and I was very happy and I loved their products. And so whenever there was ever any complaints, that wasn't my problem because my stuff worked. My stuff worked, and, you know, I had to be loyal to the brand, and I genuinely was because I was having a great time and their stuff was awesome. So I've cared for these pens. I've bought them over lovingly, but I don't see how I can replace them. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to replace these. They're going to be replaced with something completely different. I have emailed Crafter's Companion now, and if they reply, I will tell you what they say in this video. And that's a generous time because I know that from the time I film this video to the time I get to edit it and upload it, it could be a little while. So they've got some time to respond. But yeah, there's so many colors, like it's so many pens. I think I worked out I've got here in terms of trays. Let me see if I can just show you. It might be upside down, but whoop. There you go. This is my collection of their pens at the moment. Used to be a bigger collection. But I got rid of duplicates. I got rid of my tricolor pens, which was basically the alcohol marker with the 3 colors in one pen, and you take off the different parts, because I didn't see the point in them because they only carry a small amount of alcohol ink in them and they're not supposed to be refillable. So I didn't bother bringing those with me because I had the full set. So why would I? What was this? The antique pinks. And so now they're just taking up space on my desk, so they're going to have to go. I'm still going to finish these. I'm going to finish swatching these all out for you so we can see the beautiful... yeah, who doesn't love a completed color chart? Aren't they beautiful? Let's see if any of those pens bled through. One tried. There was an effort. Okay. I'll be back again at the end. Okay, so welcome back to more Becky Gets Disappointed. So I've swatched out what remains of the pens, and they suck. They are all dried up. The few that are like this are the ones that I would be refilling. In terms of bleed through, as you can see, there's a couple. What I did find in my swatch book is, let's find it for you. My swatch chart that is, which I did maybe about 2 years ago. For comparison. So this is how all of my pens were. And it also shows that they did update the color chart. So there is another chart somewhere. I don't know why this one was the one that I found for some reason, but as you can see, all the colors laid down smooth, and this is the bleed through from just doing a color chart. So that's what a that's what a pen that doesn't need to be refilled looks like on the back. So even the ones that did bleed through, you can see it's not even close to what they're supposed to be. Another thing I found, so I kept these ones out. These were my newest pens. These were the ones, and I have a whole ton of these as well. I got these ones in the discovery kits that they did. So they did like the little cute gift box set. It had some coloring sheets from an artist, and it had a selection of pens. So these ones were basically brand new. They were hardly, because I have all the colors, so I did them for the samples, and then they went into the tray because I had all the colors, and I'm more of an Illustrator girl. Garbage. So here I have a big Amazon box. And they're all going to be boxed up until I find out from Crafter's Companion what I'm supposed to do with these pens. Do I just throw them out? Do I just put some clear alcohol in and see if that regenerates them? Another observation. So here are the 3 blender pens that I had. 3 of them. I am going to keep these out because this is just clear alcohol. I can pick up clear alcohol from any brand, and I've got some cool blenders. I can use these for my pencils or for whatever new pens I go with now. But I wanted to just show something. This pen is a much, much, much older Spectrum Noir. So this is where it gets even more crazy. These have all been stored together. They've all traveled across the Atlantic with me. They've all been stayed in the same room. They've all been cared for. Any one of these blenders, let's have a look. Dry. 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 This older style barrel that predates all of my other pens. Oh, look. It's not dry. It's turned the paper grey, and it has bled through, and that is going to now evaporate. So this is the only one I've got for comparison. This is the older one, which isn't the very, very first generation. So the very, very first generation is the one that everybody complained was drying out really easily. And then this is probably like the second generation. And then let's call this the third generation. I don't know if there were any like smaller iterations within that, but why is this the reason? That the pens cap better on these? I am so confused, and obviously I'm really not happy. So I'm still waiting to hear back. Sarah Davies is very busy, obviously, so I don't expect to hear from her personally. And I also can't just post in the Facebook group, because the Facebook groups with Crafter's Companion, they're very quick to remind you that that is not a group for complaints and that you need to email customer services. So, there's not much point in me posting there. So I'm going to carry on editing this video. I'm going to put it up. And if this is the end of the video, they haven't responded back to me yet. So I'll have to follow up with you afterwards. But this to this. sad. Okay, another thing. I was just clearing out the rest of my trays, and I noticed that I had actually bought 3 markers open stock because these ones were running low on ink and they're still shrink wrapped. So I'm going to open one of these up, and I'm expecting that because these ones are literally shrink wrapped, these ones will be fine. So shall we find out? Off to a great start. Okay, so this one has not had the caps taken off at all. What the heck? That is still dry. You are joking. So obviously it's not as dry as the others. Right, okay, so let's be real here. That is not as dry as this guy. But it is not soaking through at all. There is... Huh. LV2. Blue Grey 3. I'm not even gonna bother. Okay, so there you have it. Even my brand new open stock replacements have a shelf life as well. So even completely unopened and shrink wrapped. Garbage. Okay, it is a crunch day. So I have spoken to Crafter's Companion, and they have confirmed to me that they expect that their pens have an 18-month shelf life. Now, I've disputed that because I've had my pens for years without any problems. So I've also asked them if there's any particular environmental considerations and did not get a reply on or anything useful on that. However, they are interested in seeing if I can bring them back to life by applying alcohol to the markers. I did mention that I had an older marker pen, an older version Classique, which didn't dry out, and had anything changed with the pens in terms of, you know, like, is this something that they're having complaints about, or is there anything in the new design that is a problem, or have they changed the design lately? You know, all these questions. And let's find out the email so I can tell you what they said to me. Okay, so she is saying, and I will say they did reply to me quite quickly, which is good. Let's have a look. I'm unsure when, but I know we did change supplier for the pens. And the team has been in contact with the supplier regarding getting a new batch of pens in stock, as a lot of the pens are down at the moment due to rebranding. Again, another rebranding, another remanufacturing. Okay. I am unsure when they were back on the site and when the new pens will be in stock. The development team have been looking into this, and I have passed over the swatches you have sent in so that they can send them away to the supplier and manufacturer.
Okay, and she would like me to get back to her after following the online advice on applying alcohol to try and revive these. So let's take, I've pulled out a couple. This is the OR1, which was one that was very dry. So if I just remind ourselves, OR1, very dry. I've got my tweezers because I don't want to make a mess of myself. I should be able to grab this nib. Oh dear, it's a 2-part nib. Okay, so that's taken the glove off. And then I'm supposed to be able to just pull this out. Well, that's not coming out, is it? See, she just, I was sent a link to, oh, look how dry that is as you're peeling off there. She didn't send me a link to how to do this particular pen though. So let's just put that back in. I've probably just ruined that brush. Let me just check the world of the internet. Spectrum Noir. That's how to refill the Classiques. An introduction to the Spectrum, no. How to refill. Pull the chisel tip out of your pen. Well, these don't have chisel tips, so that's not the right one. So how are you supposed to pull the nib out? Because I'm going to try this end again because I know that you can get replacement brush nibs. The question is, can we pull this out? And I'm not going to use my hands. Could you imagine me doing this for however many hundreds of pens there are? Well, I'm just making a mess of this. This is the best advice I get? Maybe I just wasted my money buying alcohol for no reason. On YouTube, I'm searching how to refill an Illustrator pen specifically, and there is no video that I can see on how to do this. I've pulled off a lot of fibers of this inadvertently. Oh, I can pull this end out, but I don't know if that's supposed to come out. Okay. All right. Let's put his hat back on. And as you can see from all these fibers, these quote refillable pens, unless I'm doing something epically wrong here, but these brush nibs, just make sure I've got it the same length. Okay, right. So I've gone for this end. That's a small hole there. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get in there, but we shall see.
The other concern I have is I don't know if this is going to affect the depth of the color, because obviously if I get the proportion wrong, so if I just go for a pipette and see, oh, okay, so we have an issue here, don't we? I'm probably going to go ahead and say that was too much alcohol. As a company that has sold me refillable pens, you should not be just telling me to Google how to refill them if you don't have instructions yourself on how to refill them. This information should be easy to access. All right, now, OR1, ruined this nib. Okay, let's just see if we can loosen up some of that dried on ink from the nib. Well, this nib doesn't work now. I'm just getting a... I'm not having fun anymore. I'm making a mess. Look at this nib. So this pen is now no use. I'll leave that out so that when I take a photo for them, I can update them. It sounds like they can't send me any replacements anyway, because it sounds like they don't even have any. So let's pull this end out. Which one was this? DG1. DG1 was looking very sad. Okay, this time I won't use so much. Oh, and don't worry about them not being very well easy to refill. They no longer sell the refills, so I don't really want to be getting alcohol all over me or breathing it in. Still dry. Okay, well, I'm not having much luck getting this one flowing. Because maybe it's too late for these with the nibs. They probably need soaking in alcohol. So let me roll this nib around. And this ink that you're seeing here is basically just the ink being dissolved again with the alcohol. But the question is any of the alcohol marker coming through on the nib? I mean, look, I can't use this. I'm just drying it off. I'm just liquefying the ink that's already dried onto the nib. Ooh, we might be getting some flowing through on this side now. But that's still really dry. Okay, I'm going to go away and have a little conversation with the lady I've been speaking to at the company and let her know that I am not prepared to do this. Because if I cannot be provided with the correct instructions to do so, I do not think that the consumer should be messing around with it if we don't know what we're doing. Let's see how this one's doing now. Yeah, I think she's just helped me break my pen. Well, I think that's the end of that saga. Of course, if anybody else has any ideas or suggestions, please let me know what I'm doing wrong in the comments below. And then please join me for some more happier videos very soon. Thank you.